Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to another edition of Vintage Science Fiction Eye Candy. We're now sort of moving into the 70s, or at least for the printings of the following books, but some of the artwork probably still does lie originally in the 60s, and then some in the 70s, and then it might, say 1980 on it. But I've got a bit of a collection here. It's a bit eclectic in a sense. There was going to be two trilogies, but I'll get to that in a moment. But first of all, we've got John Gore of Lost Land, just of Lost Land. John Gore of Lost Land by Robert Moore Williams. And this is the Popular Library edition. I think it's the only really edition that's been done of these. Or there might be some more recent reprints, digital. Uh, this was originally published by Ziff Davis in magazine, 1970, this edition. So we're right on the cusp of the 70s. And yeah, if you guessed you thought that was Frank Frazetta, you were right. Yeah, that's a Frank Frazetta cover. And these are, let's just say, a homage to Tarzan to a certain extent. But he's no longer in Africa, he's in Australia. That's all I'll say. I do want to reread these at some point, hence, I got the trilogy. So this is a nice little addition to green staining on the sides or on the page edges. So now we got the return of John Gore. And again, yeah, it's a Frank Frazetta cover. A bit of flaking there. Again, a pyramid book. There's darkening to this and darkening to the pages, but you still have the, well, off green, let's just put it that way, off green page edges. Well, it's a little more green on the bottom. And yeah, you can see there's age darkening. A couple of these I'm going to have to be very careful at reading. Again, this is 1946, originally Ziff Davis, 1970 for the Popular Library edition. So that's number 2, I believe. And number 3 is John Gore Fights Back. Again, a Frank Frazetta cover. And that, there's a lot of flaking there. Again, some of this I think has been done because I have been moving stuff around and moving itself. So hence I'm putting these into bags, paperback bags. Just to stop that kind of thing. It's not that they're worth a lot of money. Some books that I'm putting in are probably the plastic is worth more than the book, but then again, it's becoming, I guess, scarce, these, and so people are putting up prices, sadly. So 51 Ziff Davis, 1970 Pyramid. So John Gore Fights Back. Now, keeping on the theme of Tarzan, let's not say rip-offs, let's just say homages. There are many of them. Now, I have spent hours looking for part 1 of this. I had found part 1 and part 2. I brought them downstairs here. Oh, let me take the one out of the plastic here, number 3. So I found 1 and 3. I immediately put them in a plastic bag, and then I needed to find part 2. So I found that the other day. Great. And I've been wanting to read these for a while because I've not read these. And I spent all morning, like it's now after 2, it's almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I spent the whole morning looking for volume 1 and part 1 and part 3. And I finally found part 3. I have no idea where part 1 is at the moment. It's got to be here somewhere. I've been moving stuff around because I put them aside. Anyway, It really, really bugs me where I wouldn't have taken it out of this room. And this room is not that big. It's Balzan. Balzan of the cat people. Yes, Balzan, not Tarzan. Balzan. He was kidnapped by cat people from another planet. So we had Jongor in Australia. Now we've got Balzan somewhere else in the galaxy, raised by the cat people. Yes, you've heard it here. You've heard it here. Now, I think I might have seen this originally on Matt's channel, Science Fiction Reads, and it was several years ago, and I thought, I have to get those. So I found two of them. Yeah, see, I got two here. But I found two of them very easily, very cheaply. And it took me forever to find the third one. And then I was all set to read it, and then I don't know what happened. Something happened, and it got pushed aside. But anyway, and I don't know who the cover artist is. So even if I had number one, I'd be able to show it to you, but then I'd say, I don't know who the cover artist is. It's not credited. I can't find it on any of the systems. So anyway, Balzan of the Cat People. This is number two. Newest sensation in science fiction, The Tarzan of Outer Space by Wallace Moore. The Caves of Madness. Yes, The Caves of Madness. And this was a Pyramid edition again in 1975. Looks like it was went directly to there. See, you can see some flaking there again, and I don't want to have that. But this is nice. I don't think it's been read. Who would read such a thing like this? I would. Ooh, yes, you can see a lot of flaking there along the edge. So now we've got number three of Balzan of the Cat People. You can just see that. So what is this cry going to be? Meow? I guess so. I don't know what else it would be. It would have to be a meow. Yeah, it just doesn't work for the Tarzan call. So, yeah, I do have to read these, but I don't know where number one is. So this is Balzan of the Cat People, number three, The Lights of Zetar. Oh, this has a pretty bad bump to the top corner, but okay. Now this is 1975. This is a second printing from February 1976. It originally came out in September. So it actually went to a second printing. Wow. Wow. So yeah, so that's what's his name? They don't put his name on the cover on this one. Wallace Moore. They don't put the author's name on the covers. It's Wallace Moore. It's on the. Can you read that? Yeah, Wallace Moore. I might not have said it. Very odd, very odd. Okay, now shifting gears again. We've got Cordwainer Smith, who his real name, that's pseudonym. Now I've got to look down here because I never forget his two middle. I always forget his two middle names. I always know him basically as Paul Berger, I think it is, yeah. Middle names are Paul, Myron, Anthony, but better known as Cordwainer Smith. Now, this is Planet Buyers, and it's Bruce Pennington as the cover. We've seen him already, and there's British Dune editions. At least the first trilogy have been done by him. Now, this was published in the UK in 1975 by Sphere Books Limited. And it says here a shorter version of this book appeared in Galaxy Science Fiction in April 1964 under the title The Boy Who Bought Old Earth. But this was later then incorporated into his novel Norstralia. And I think the only complete version of Norstralia is done by NESFA Press, the New England Science Fiction Association. That's the only one I think that's been done. So, and then we've got another one, which I'm not sure which order these are. It's so long since I read these. The Under People, and that is again a Bruce Pennington cover. Might I say that? Yeah, it is Pennington. And this is 1975 again by Sphere Books. And again, this was added to the Norstralia edition, or the Norstralia novel. So, but I wanted to get these because I do have the Norstralia NESFA Press one. Now I think I got that right. Yeah, there's 1, 2, yeah, 7. So I got 3 more here, which is an odd thing here. But it's Arthur C. Clarke, and the cover art is by Gordon C. Davies. Now this is, like it says there, New English Library, but it's sort of an imprint, but it's not quite. I haven't actually looked into the whole thing of Sidgwick and Jackson to untangle them, because they've been around for a long time. But I think when they put out paperbacks, they might have went under the moniker New English Library. So this was, but there was a New English Library edition that said this. It had the same cover. I believe it had a different color of font on for the words. This is the second impression from. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. First published in Great Britain, Sedgwick and Jackson in 1953, and then second impression 1955. Okay, so those I'm assuming were hardcovers. First published as a 4-square edition in 1962, reprinted in 1964, then reissued as a New English Library edition May 1968, and a in New English Library edition February 1977. Now we're getting close here. So this edition was published by Sidgwick and Jackson April 77. So in a sense, this is this is the third printing, I think. Yeah, it's not that convoluted, but it's just not that clear. But it doesn't really matter too much. That the previous edition, like I say, looked the same, had the same artwork by Gordon C. Davies, and it just had different color of words on it. But we're not finished yet. We've got Prelude to Space. Also a Gordon C. Davies cover. See, this was a bit of a wraparound on the spine. This not. Well, actually, it wrapped around to the back. Yes, sorry. It wrapped around to the back. Okay. This one didn't. It has the man himself on the back. I think probably he's on the set of 2001. I think that's what that is. So, okay. Now, as you can see, this is the close-up. It's the same artwork. But this one came first. So they had zoomed in on it, first of all, on the first editions of it. And then they pulled out, which actually, it kind of works better because most of it's space then. And I think that actually works a little better. So now this gets a little... See, this is... this says it's reprinted in 1980. The first Sidgwick and Jackson is April 1977. But if we look at the copyright information, for those who are interested, yeah, so this is the first Sidgwick and Jackson edition, and this is the second one. But this is the third, yes, the third printing, sort of in a sense. There was another printing with the same artwork on it, but was a fully New English Library. But you see, that does say New English Library on there, and this one doesn't. But it's got the little doorway that is part of the New English Library doohickey, or whatever you want to call it, the imprint, colophon, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, so that's interesting, because I find it interesting that they use the close-up and then the pulled-out version of it, rather than the pulled-out version and the close-up. I've seen that done a lot on American editions, and I kind of wonder if this is a British thing, which I don't know. I'm sure somebody out there might have the answer to that. I haven't looked that up to see, because I have another example of the same thing. Well, I don't have the original edition, but I have seen it. So we've got, well, actually, this is sort of his first novel. It's really good. I just recently reread it. It starts out a little shaky, but it does get better. And then we've got The Sands of Mars, which is sort of a follow-up to Prelude to Space, in a sense. So you see, this is that's the Gordon C. Davies cover as well, and it's got him on the back there as well. And it still has the little New English Library little doohickey there. So we've got this, and this is a Sedgwick and Jackson edition. And this is the second printing in February 1980. It was, the original edition was published in 1976, and then it was reprinted again in December 1976, and then February 1980 this theoretically is the third edition. But I think the other one, again, the New English Library edition, or I think it had that imprint on it, is a close-up of this little Mars rover. And then, again, when they go to reprint it, they pull it out so you can see the domed cities there. I don't think the domed cities are on there. I think there might have been a different color in there as well, and probably a wraparound, or partially wraparound. So I find that quite interesting, just as just as information, and how they did that kind of thing. And like I say, I haven't looked into this. If anybody knows anything about this, was it a British thing or not? Because I've seen it done in the U.S., but usually it's the second, or at least the ones that I've noticed, the later editions are zoomed in rather than zooming out. So interesting. Oh, I find it interesting anyway. So there you go. That's a roundabout way to begin the 1970s. I'll try to continue on with these, because I got quite a few 1970s, but there might be a few 60s popped in as I find them, because there might be a few more sitting around, and then we'll see where we go from there. I don't think, as many 70s, and then as the decades go on, I have less and less, like in the 80s. But we'll keep going. Thank you, BookTube.